Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan and Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to our Unchartered conversation. Unchartered conversation. Did I say it's Uncharted conversation or discussions? But it's Unchartered anyway. Episode of Empowered to Grow. I'm still with my beautiful guest, Linda Bonnar. Thank you for being with us today.
Oh gosh, Hanan, thank you so much. Again, it's just fantastic. It's brilliant.
I'm happy again. Happy we cross paths. Somehow the universe just sent us on each other's paths, and I'm so grateful for that.
Thank you.
Well, I was talking with Linda in between the recordings, and one of the notes that she had was talking about imposter syndrome. And as some of you who have listened to other episodes now of Empowered to Grow, this is a topic I'm very passionate about because it's very close to my heart, and this is still something that I have to consciously think about and overcome on a daily basis. Just it's as we always say, I don't think you ever get over it, but you become more aware and conscious of it, and you kind of build up an arsenal of tools and tactics and strategies to get yourself over that let's call it impediment one way or another as well.
Yeah, a little hurdle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you want to define imposter syndrome, how would you define imposter syndrome to everyone listening?
Thanks, Hanan. So it's that feeling of, I think sometimes, but I know now from my experience, my personal experience with it, my conversations with other people in this space as well. There's a number of different thoughts that it often triggers. Mm-hmm. So those might be thoughts around, I'm a fraud, so the feelings of I'm going to be found out. They'll find out I don't know as much as they think I know.
Yeah.
Or it could be they'll find out I didn't go to that, I didn't have the same upbringing as they did. I've just been lucky the whole time as well. So I haven't got to where I am today through my own hard work. I've just been lucky. That whole feeling then of, because back in the 70s when the phrase was first coined, it was primarily attributed to high-achieving female executives who said they didn't feel that they deserved, or that they didn't deserve their seat at the big boys' table in that male-dominated field. And now, of course, we know, well, it's not just females, and it's certainly not just high-achieving women in that space either. The imposter, it doesn't differentiate according to gender or job or anything like that at all. It just loves to show up. And especially when we're about to step out of our comfort zone, do something different. And so how do we recognize it? We got to tune into that voice.
Yeah.
Got to be aware of the voice that loves to play on repeat over and over again. The one that sometimes sounds like it's got a loudspeaker and it's got center stage when you're actually the one going out onto the stage, right? Getting ready to talk. And it's not the same for everyone either, Hanan. So it might be this really loud voice, or sometimes it's that quiet whisper, but really? You're going to do this?
Yeah.
Hang on. You're going to write a book?
Exactly. And speaking of that, I realized I had this voice about a year and a half ago. And that voice in the back of my head was always telling me, who do you think you are?
Oh, yes.
Like, who do you think you are to dream that big? Exactly, to dream that big, or to have these kind of aspirations, or, where are you located in the world? And what kind of network do you have? And I'm like, okay, hang on a second.
Yes.
I had not realized, and I was going through Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins event.
Oh, yeah.
It was last year in July, and he had it virtual for the first time ever because of COVID and lockdowns and everything. And for me, it was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. the next day. It's like, okay, But it really did support me, the way it was structured and the topics that he was talking about. And I know that he's big on NLP as well, that we were talking about.
Yeah.
It just made me start tapping into my own blocks and tapping into what I've associated pain with, and thus accordingly started avoiding. We were talking about in the previous episode about running away from things, and avoiding the confrontation or avoiding the hard work that needs to be done to work through your own obstacles. That could be self-induced, if that's the word. Right? You self-induce an obstacle, but self-created, and it was that. And for me, it's just like, oh my God, it was like light bulb. Oh my God, yes, there's a voice at the back of my head that has been holding me back. Provided that, and again, this has been triggered by imposter syndrome, provided that everything I had done to date, I still felt was not good enough. It still did not earn me that spot at the big boys table. Did not earn me that spot on the international arena. Those kind of things that you have to stop and say, but why?
What is enough?
Yeah, sure.
Because imposter syndrome is often tied to, it doesn't show up alone, Hanan. This is the thing, imposter syndrome, the imposter isn't a loner. It's got lots of friends, like perfection, guilt, shame, anxiety, worry. Oh, they're all there at this big mad party together, having a great time. While the rest of us are playing it safe, and staying small, not stepping out into the arena, not writing the books, not sharing a message, because what if somebody questions it? Who am I to be talking about that?
Yeah. And you know what? The podcast came out of that.
I love it.
Exactly. This is, I just celebrated the 100th episode of the podcast.
Yay! Oh, congratulations.
16 months in the making. But it was that. I was actually on another podcast, and there was a guest who was a podcaster and everything, and they were talking, and they're like, oh, no, don't worry, you're going to find the content. Why don't you just kind of go ahead and do it? And I was like, hang on a second. Content. I know how to create content. I know I love conversations. Yeah. Why am I stopping myself? Again, because it's like, am I ready? Do I, do I deserve to have a podcast? Am I worthy of being a podcaster? And I realized, heck yeah, I'm going to do this. And it's not, again, I reminded myself, and I think this is another thing that we want to address is, how do you get out of it? For me, it was addressing, why am I doing this? I went back to my why. And my why is all about women and empowering women to see the inherent powers within them to achieve whatever. I mean, of course, I focus on women in business, but for you to be able to start a business and grow that business, you need to believe in yourself first. So I thought, empowered to grow is my slogan, and it's something I really believe in. And empowered you empowers others is actually my slogan. Empowered to grow is my Facebook group.
Yes,
the tribe that I'm working actively on creating. And I said, there are a lot of amazing women around the world, not necessarily in a geographic location, around the world, that are doing amazing things, and they're empowering themselves and others, and they possibly don't have the spotlights on them, and they deserve a floodlight. And it's going to be my mission to get that floodlight on women around the world.
So gorgeous.
Thank you. But again, how do we get ourselves across that imposter syndrome block or hurdle, whether we're talking on a daily basis or we're talking in recognizing it in the first place?
I think that's always the first step, Hanan, isn't it? It's recognizing that it's there. Nothing changes without awareness. So being aware, and we can be so quick to just sweep uncomfortable emotions or feelings under the carpet, right? Oh, I'll just ignore it. And that's what I used to do when I was younger, of course. But get curious about it instead of being critical with yourself. So park your criticism and just drive a bit of curiosity. What's going on here right now? And again, talk about the spotlight or the floodlight. Shine that light on the imposter and call it out. It's like fear.
I see you.
Thank you. you know, because again, fear is tied to it as well. So I love this whole idea of having coffee with your imposter.
Mhm.
What's your story today? You know, what brings you here to the table?
Mhm.
And just getting that discussion out, get it out of your head and get it onto paper, or, you know, as mad as it can sound, have a conversation with it. Because I know when I started doing that, all of a sudden, this huge imposter, you know, the thing that was there, all of a sudden, it's a lot smaller than I thought. And it, you know, and it says to me, and it always doesn't show up, it doesn't always, sorry, show up with a positive intent. The positive intent behind mine was, and oh my gosh, Hanan, if it wasn't, it was so strong before my book came out. Like it was literally, I was, oh, this is awful. And so I remember doing this, practicing what I preach. And my imposter came out with this, you know, if you don't, so first of all, who are you to be putting that book out there? And like, so then you catch it and you challenge it. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting point. I will tell you exactly who I am to be putting this book out there. And I start again, you know, it's that arsenal of success that you mentioned so fantastically earlier on as well. This is what makes me an expert in this field. And there's a problem around the E word as well then, isn't there? Oh, she's an expert. Yes, I am actually.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm an expert in everything. Nobody wants to eat my cooking, by the way, like nobody, okay? So it's not. It's context is everything, absolutely everything. But that doesn't mean that I know it, that I know every single thing, right? I'm open to learning. I'm open to growing. I know a huge amount about this and I want to know more and I want to share it with you as well. Yeah. So recognize it, acknowledge it, call it out on it, challenge it, and change that way of thinking, change the story that you're telling yourself. Work with your imposter and say, well, hang on, you know what, look, I hear what you're saying here. If I don't put this book out there, no one can criticize me or judge me for it.
Yeah, true.
So I'm safe, right? But if we go back to what you said then a few minutes ago as well, Hanan, about your why. So if I don't put my book out there, brilliant. But my why is so much bigger than me. So the question is then, like, why am I doing it? What would I not do this? Because it's no longer about me, but it's about empowering other people out there. That's so powerful.
Speaking of the why, the disempowering thing is that a lot of people don't stop to say or to ask themselves, what's my why? Again, not because it's their fault or not because I'm blaming them in any way. I'm just saying that we weren't conditioned that way as well. We weren't conditioned to say, I'm unique, I'm special, because there's only one of me in over 7 billion.
Look at my face.
Exactly, so I'm definitely special. And I've been created for a reason. And what is my reason? And your reason doesn't have to span 7 billion people across Earth.
No.
But I say whether you're impacting, and I call it the positive impact ripple effect, whether you're impacting one person, you're impacting 1 million people, you have a why of why you exist today.
Yes.
And that is I think this is the invitation that we're sending out to everyone and every lady who's listening to us who is still being blocked by imposter syndrome and wondering about where do I go from here. I think is to take a time out, literally, and just say, okay, hang on, why? What's my why? I want to be the best mother in the world. That's valid, and no one gets to judge your why. No one gets to judge why you want to do whatever you want to do and why you believe you were created in this world. But have a why, and put your back into it. Is that the right expression, right? Put your back into it, and see how you can whether you want to expand it, you want to fortify it, you want to get the support system, and I call it the tribe behind it.
Yes,
I think that's the part. That's our responsibility, and no one can do it on our behalf.
And that's, again, you've reminded me again of your whole philosophy behind empowerment. Yeah. Empower yourself, empower others. allow people to empower you as you go on this journey as well.
Sure. And we're not saying you're not going to have people who will disempower you at every obstacle, at every phase, whether they are self-projecting onto you their own limitations, their own unmet dreams and expectations and potential. But which I believe is also a huge trigger for the imposter syndrome, is when someone questions your why, when someone questions you really think you can do this? You know,
I love your face just there.
It's like, seriously? Because
I've seen it. Me too.
Yeah, I've had this where then that starts, that immediately that is the fuel for all the imposter syndrome and all the buddies to come out as like, yeah, told you, see, you know what?
Here we are.
Told you can't do this. And we stop ourselves. And I think the challenge is, and I was thinking of this earlier today, is it's not asking why am I doing this or if I should do this. I think it's going back again to how can I do this? Who can I reach out to? What resources are at my fingertips that I can capitalize on? And again, we don't think of resource other than the expertise or the money or whatever. We've got our knowledge, as you were saying, like your knowledge creates an expert out of you. And we underestimate, again, the amount of knowledge that we've got and the experiential knowledge specifically, which means that you've taken and you've experienced something with it. I always say that your time is a resource, of course, your money is a resource, your energy, your effort is a resource, your networks are a resource. And we just need to, I think Tony Robbins is the one that always talks about resourcefulness. And that is a key to success. It's just, we need to think how to be resourceful rather than how limited our resources are at our own hands. Because again, as you were saying, we can't do this alone. Find others to support you, to give you that nudge along the way as well.
I love this. And if I could just add a little bit to that as well, it's
please.
Everything in here, everything within you is a resource.
Yes.
Your thoughts, the emotions, use those emotions that you have, like to drive you, or to maybe practice some patience when it calls for that as well. Your resilience, your determination, your attitude, your perspective on something.
Yeah, I love that.
Use it.
Well, okay, I know that we can go on for hours. and yet I will respect your time.
No, it's absolutely fine.
Thank you. And I believe we've posed a few probing questions over here and a few kind of prompts where we can invite everyone to just stop and think and stop and analyze, not overanalyze, not overthink, just enough for that moment to be able to assess where to go from here, to reach out when they do need the support, and to believe that whatever they set their heart and mind to is achievable. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how and who and all the other questions that support us along our journey.
Yeah, so beautifully said. I feel it's just really interesting. We can allow it. What am I going to allow to consume my headspace? And I encourage my clients to think of it, if you think of your head like the most expensive property in the world, I think of like somewhere along Billionaires Row, right beside Central Park. And it's, if you owned something like that, you wouldn't fill it with trash. You'd want the best of the best in there. True. And that's what your mind is like. Feed it well. Like, think of it like the space that it occupies is the most expensive space in the world, and be mindful of what you allow to sit in there.
Yeah, I love that. It's I think it's Jim Rohn who talks about our mind like a garden, and it's what's the weeds or the seeds that we want to make space for the positive rather than just keep being consumed with the weeds of the negative thoughts and the doubt and the fear and everything else that could crawl up on us.
Fantastic.
Well, Linda, thank you.
Thank you so much, Hanan. What a pleasure.
Thank you. Same here. It's enriching once again. And
Oh,
encouraging
fantastic.
and empowering on so many levels. So thank you for being with me today. And thank you for showing up, believing in yourself, and for going out and creating that positive impact, ripple effect.
I love that. You know what? It's, again, we're all works in progress, Hanan, aren't we? And it's one day at a time. We can only do our best with what we have right here, right now. And that's all we can do.
Sure. I'm not going to add anything to that. So that's that's the sum up for our episode. We are works in progress, and that's a beautiful thing. It's not negative in any way. It's positive because we realize there's more work to do, and there's more potential we can tap into. And tomorrow we can be better versions of ourselves, of today's self. Thank you. And as always, I wish you love, abundance, and prosperity. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananulbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.